Howdy folks, I'm naysaying Neptune, nearing noisy nocturnal newts.
I'm Amber.
And here are more nocturnal newts for us to go near. They're noisy. They're very noisy. Do newts actually make any noises?
I have no idea.
We'll have to go consult the witches. Oh, and before we begin, I just want to say that we're nearing 1,000 subscribers and 1,000 episodes. So I've been actually having a little contest in my head about which one we would reach first. It looks like we're going to reach 1,000 episodes first. But let me know what you folks want to do if there's any ideas you have for like 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 episodes. So let's get started. Alright folks, our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not wanting to split my jackpot win with my husband's friend? I'm a 30-year-old female and I played the lottery for the first time last year when everyone was talking about the Powerball jackpot. Since then, I've played casually, but only spending a few dollars a week. I occasionally won a few bucks and I never really expected to win anything big, but it was nice to dream as I had a ton of debt and have been struggling a lot. Well, fast forward to a few months ago, I won't say the month for privacy, I was checking the winning numbers one night against my ticket and it matched with my numbers perfectly. Initially, I didn't believe it and thought there had to be a mistake, so I told my husband and we checked it a dozen times and I was right. We won. It was life-changing, multi-generational money. We instantly agreed to keep the news to ourselves and wait a few months before we did anything. The past few months have been incredible, filled with disbelief, and though it's been difficult, we have managed not to make any large purchases or change our lifestyle. We fantasized about what we would do with our money, but the time to claim is drawing near, so we have begun having more practical discussions about how to claim it and what to do with it. While discussing, my husband, Adam, brought up that he thinks that it'll be a good idea to split the money with his best friend / business partner, Tim. Tim and Adam have been friends since they were in middle school and have done everything together since. Together, they've started a business, worked together, invested money, moved to the same town, and have often dreamt about our families making it big together. Since we have taken risks together and are so close, Adam feels that it's fair to give him 1/3 of the cash prize so that 1, we are not going to go on this journey and lifestyle alone, and 2, it's suspicious to make all this money suddenly and more easily explained if Tim makes money as well, since we do everything together. I, however, feel that this is risky to share that we have come into this money with them because Tim's family tends to be a little more flashy and like showing off, and I don't fully trust that they will keep it quiet or modest enough not to raise suspicion. This is important because I've seen the community members harass and attack people with far less money just because they feel entitled. This could jeopardize our safety, so I want to avoid it if at all possible. Also, I'm not really comfortable with his plan to add Tim and his wife members to our LLC to claim the prize because I think it could have them feel that they are entitled to a bigger chunk or take the money. Adam thinks that I'm being selfish and he won't enjoy our newfound wealth if his friend isn't living the same lifestyle. But I think that we could find a way to later give them some money after figuring out a way to explain how we came into the money without telling them that we won the lottery. No idea how to do that yet. Anyways, am I the jerk for not wanting to tell them that we won the lottery and split the money? Am I selfish? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk? Selfish or not selfish?
Not the jerk and not selfish. This seems very, very fishy. I would make sure that you get the money into an account that your husband does not have access to. I don't get warm fuzzies about, like, why does he want to divert some of your money to his friend? You know, this seems very sus.
Well, I understand that does seem very suspicious, and I think that I understand where the husband is coming from, but I don't think that this is the right way to approach it. I think that you two should sit down with a financial planner, a financial advisor, and see if there's any way that you would be able to divert some of the funds to Tim without making it look suspicious. And they're going to be the people who are going to have the best idea. And if you do have a business, then there's no saying that you can't just have a business and then hire Tim on or take some other risk and have that business, you know, have some kind of level of income from the investments. So I think that there are a lot of creative ways that you could end up sharing this money with Tim without him even knowing that you ever had the money.
Yeah, but I'm still not buying that this is altruistic. I have a feeling the husband is doing this for some reason, either whether it's have Tim funnel the money back to him so he gets extra things, or if he wants to get away from OP and like take the money and run. But I just don't get good vibes from this.
Well, the trouble is that because they are a married couple, it's going to be really difficult for him to just take the money and run. And if it is this much money, it sounds like it's just like infinite quantities of money, right? Then I think it's going to be difficult to justify taking that much money, right? So I think that there is certainly something to keep an eye out. And I think OP knows their situation better than anyone and how trustworthy their husband is. But I agree with you that this does come across as suspicious.
I don't trust him.
Amber's like, I don't trust him at all. Well, I don't blame you. Let me know what you folks think. Do you trust OP's husband and Tim? Or do you think that they're plotting behind her back to steal her money?
I think they're plotting something. I have no idea what they're plotting, but it definitely, like, even if you like people, generally you don't go, hey, why don't you give this person I like a huge share of your money?
Well, and I think maybe then OP could suggest that maybe the husband share half of his portion of it or whatever. I think because they are a married couple, the lottery winnings are considered a split thing, so it isn't hers money. It would still be both of their money.
Probably depends on where they live and whether they have combined finances.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure lottery winnings, from what I understand, are marital assets. I'm almost 100% sure about that.
Well, I guess I don't have to play the lottery to win then.
No, you don't. Let me know what you folks think, though. Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Cats Kill Kid says, not the jerk. Go see a reputable lawyer who sets up trusts to help you protect your winnings and give you serious advice that you never know that you needed to know regarding taxation and inheritance. They charge a flat fee and you can work with them. Also, see a lawyer or a CPA or a licensed investment counselor. All owe you a fiduciary duty, highest duty to you, and are mostly insured. You can even get proof before committing to do business with them. Tim doesn't seem the way to go, and there are no assurances. And OP replies, we are still in the process of finding a lawyer, but we figured this is something to discuss and present to him instead of having a lawyer to decide. I think OP, you should have had a financial planner and a lawyer at the beginning of this. So yeah, I think I kind of assumed that they had gotten a financial planner or a lawyer. Turns out they don't. OP, see a lawyer. See a lawyer immediately. And Cheddar Bay Biscuit says, you should have started calling lawyers the minute you knew that you won. This isn't something that any old lawyer can handle. You need one with experience in handling sudden windfalls like this, which is a specialty. If you're coming close to the claim deadline, you're way behind. There are huge tax implications to what your husband is proposing. That's actually a really good point. He can't claim this as, well, unless they put him on as a winner on the lotto ticket, then he wouldn't be able to claim that without a huge tax burden, I believe. And OP replies, we were honestly on cloud 9 for months. I don't think either of us were thinking straight for a long time. People talk about it, but it's staggering to actually experience it. We're really recently starting to think more practically with a more level head, so I realize that we may be behind. Bubbly number 5518 says, I'd be worried that my husband and Tim were romantically involved. Wanting to give Tim that kind of money smacks of enricher and poorer sentiment. And OP replies, I think he just wants Tim on the same financial level as both of us, and both our families have been trying to make it big together for years, and we essentially suddenly catapulted to the top. I'm not worried he is involved with him, maybe a bit of an extreme loyalty. Alright folks, our next letter is titled, Am I the jerk for completely ruining my future sister-in-law's bachelorette party? This is a throwaway account. Also, it's going to be a bit vague. I don't know if I can get into legal trouble or not. And even more background heavy. I'm a 28-year-old female, and my life and my parents' marriage was ruined because of an MLM. What happened was that my mother joined a supplement MLM, got way into it, drained both my and my brother's, a 33-year-old male's, college funds, and went into tens of thousands of dollars in debt to maintain her rank. When my father was injured and had to take some time off from work, the house of cards that she built came tumbling down. We went from a loving home with 2 parents, a nice house in the suburbs, and at least $20,000 in a college fund to our parents divorcing because she refused to leave the MLM, having to live in a crappy basement in our grandparents' house, and facing the reality of taking student loans if we want to go to college, as well as having to work as young teens to help provide for our family of 3. So, suffice it to say, I hate MLMs with a passion. Now to the situation. My brother is marrying his fiancée, a 29-year-old female of 4 years and 2 weeks. Last Saturday, I was invited to her bachelorette party. She said that she wanted a low-key night at her home with some food, some alcohol, and some fun games. I get there, and including her, there are 14 other women. 3 of them are my cousins, who are 19 and 18. After I arrive, I was the last one there because I live 3 hours away. One of the women stood up and said that the fun can now begin. She then dragged out a chest of adult intimate toys and started pitching us her MLM. From the get-go, she said that my sister-in-law agreed to host, and at the end of the night, depending on how much we got, she will get some money to help with her honeymoon. I was fuming. She knew how much both me and my brother hated MLMs, so I just stood up to leave. Then I told my cousins to grab their bags and follow me. They tried to stop me, sister-in-law and MLM hun, but I just said that we had to leave. But then I couldn't just leave the other woman to be preyed on. So I went on a rant about MLMs, how scammy they are, how I bet after plying them with alcohol, they will be pressured into buying stuff that they don't want, and as well as joining into the pyramid scheme. My sister-in-law was teary by then, screaming at me to just leave, and that I ruined her bachelorette party. I grabbed my cousins and left, and while I felt a bit bad about ruining the night, I didn't feel bad about standing up to a scammer. My brother says that while he completely understood where I came from, and that he had a really big fight with her, I should have just left with my cousins without ruining the night altogether. So am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. This seems shady. Everyone was promised food and a nice time, and then it's just, we're gonna get you drunk and make you make purchases and guilt you into doing it so friend can get her honeymoon fund instead of just, directly donating to her honeymoon fund.
Yeah, I mean, I think at a certain point you would be better off donating to her honeymoon than buying a bunch of stuff that you might not want or even need. And this was supposed to be a bachelorette party, not here, let us sell you stuff party. And I think that it started under false pretenses. So I think that OP, you probably weren't the only person who was uncomfortable there. And I can't blame you for being upset, especially given your background and your experiences. So I don't know. I don't necessarily blame you for going ahead and being like, nah, I'm not doing this. It would be difficult for me to blame you for that. But let me know what you folks think. Was OP too reactionary? Did they create too much of a fuss? Or were they perfectly justified? So anyhow, take care and good luck. And had to sign up for this says, yikes, I'm going to go with not the jerk, but close to being it, honestly. You could have just left, but I'm voting that way because it doesn't sound like a bachelorette party, more like a sales pitch. So that's my judgment. And OP replies, it absolutely was a sales pitch. There were drinks but no food, a tactic used to drop your inhibitions. My mom used it. And all the games were related to the MLM. Bingo to win toys, naughty questionnaire related to the intimate toys, a raffle. But she also stated clearly that we were expected to buy so that sister-in-law could win a cash prize as well as being a great business opportunity. And Flashy Promise 6915 says, was it Ann Summers? Cheap, tacky, bad made, and yuck. I am going to go with not the jerk, as it was a sales pitch with people impaired due to booze, but it's a fine line. You could have advised quietly and then gone off with your cousins, but a sales pitch for a hen do? Ick. And OP replies, no, it was another company. And Professional Sun 7851 says, I'm putting my money on pure romance. And OP replies, I can't confirm or deny that. So, I think we do or do not have our answer to that question. All right, folks, our last letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Telling My Husband that I would divorce him if he doesn't help out more with the house chores and our 1.5-year-old toddler? My husband works from 5 in the morning to 5 in the evening. Am I the jerk for asking him to help with the baby and house chores when he comes home from work, or I will divorce him? I work from home and I take care of our 1.5-year-old during the day. We make about the same amount of money, and I do about 90% of the childcare, house cleaning, and cooking. He thinks his job is more stressful than me taking care of the baby and working at the same time. And because of this, he shouldn't have to do as much when he gets home. We argue about this weekly, and when I said that this will lead to divorce if he doesn't step up, he got mad and told me good luck in thinking that I would have more free time, because statistically single mothers have a harder time than single dads. Edit, my husband, a 30-year-old male, doesn't have a physical job. He works in the office. His commute is 20 minutes. My job, as a 29-year-old female, consists of mostly working online with a couple of months having to go into the office. I work around 4 hours a day. I can work more than that, and of course, that would come with a pay increase, and I'm hoping to be doing that in the next couple of months. I don't have an issue with watching our son during the day. My job is flexible and easy enough to do that while I watch him. I only ask for help in the evening so I can make dinner and do laundry, etc. If my husband watches the baby in the evening, they will watch cartoons or videos on his phone. For all the people saying that my husband is having a full-time job and providing for a full woman, again, we make the same amount of money right now. And I do have the potential to make double what I make now as soon as I have the time to take on extra responsibilities. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. And if OP has it so easy, why doesn't OP go up to full time and he can stay home with the kid?
Yeah, I mean, why not that solution? I think that that's a perfectly reasonable solution, because if they're making both the same amount of money now, then if OP takes on twice the amount of time, they'll still be making the same amount of money. So it doesn't change their household financial position at all.
And if he balks at that, I think you'll have your answer about how much work taking care of the kid really is in the house in his eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually a really good point. Present this to him and see how much of a reaction he has, because at that point in time, like Amber said, you'll have your answer, because clearly he'll know which one is actually the harder of the two jobs. I think that OP, you're under a lot of stress. It seems like you're doing a lot. And again, while you're working fewer hours than him at a job, you're still being a mother full time. That's
right.
Not something that you get time off from being.
Yeah, you have a full-time job and a part-time job.
Yeah. So I think that this is unfortunately one of those situations where you both have competing interests, and hopefully if you two want to work out these problems, then maybe going into marital counseling, having a serious talk about household responsibilities and what you expect out of each other, and even potentially having him drop down to 8 hours a day to help out more while you go up to full-time 8 hours a day. That way he'll make a little bit less, but that'll be more than made up for by the amount of hours that you're working. And so that's kind of what I think. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And upstairs account 212 says, not the jerk, but don't use threats like that unless you are willing to back them up. Also, just wondering, what jobs are people getting where they can work 4 hours a day remotely and make enough to bring in half of the household income, and it's easy enough to watch our toddler all day? When my kids were that age, I couldn't turn my back for a minute without total chaos descending. I would have never been able to work at the same time. And OP replies, in all reality, when I work, he is taking naps or in the evenings after I go to bed. I will reply to emails and talk on the phone while he's awake, but this is all I'm able to do. I also wonder if I made my job sound too easy. It's not that easy, but I feel that it's so much easier than sleep deprivation and taking care of a newborn. When I say my job is easy, it's because I'm comparing it with the first few months of taking care of a newborn, which I think is fair.
Mm-hmm.
And Assis Nostis says, 5 a.m. till 5 p.m. office job? And OP replies, it's not a simple office job. He's pretty high up in the management position and has a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. He chooses to work such long hours. It's not required. We have our answers, folks. He needs to drop down to the 8 hours a day. And then OP and him can share responsibilities with the child.
Yeah, I mean, this clearly he's just doing this to have his excuse of, oh, I'm too tired from working hard all day.
I would not be surprised if he's working 12 hours a day to dodge taking care of a child at this point in time.
Yeah, well, see how he likes it when he has 50-50 custody and has to actually parent a child for half the time.
Exactly. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got a beverage of choice right here, and Amber, she's got a joke.
Why couldn't the bicycle stand on its own?
Well, I can tell you exactly why the bicycle didn't stand on its own, because it didn't have legs like some kind of bicycle monstrosity that has legs and wheels.
Because it's too tired.
Oh, that too. And I have Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday. Congratulations. We made it to the end of the week, and I'm pretty happy about that. Let me know if you are too.
Yes.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please, please have it in the form of a name tag on a desk of a person who's far too important for themselves.
That's Dr. Professor Patrick to you.
I like it. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.